Shalom. First and foremost, before I begin this lesson, I would like to give all praises, honor, and glory to our Heavenly Father, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Racha Kadash. Double honors to the apostles, elders, and bishops of the Great Millstone who do rule and teach well. Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, Barakatham, peace, blessings, salutations as always to the sincere Akim, noiseless gospel abroad, keeping the faith, diligence, and testimony of our Lord Yahushai, and to the few sincere Aquath and listen and learn as well. To you I say Shalom. So yes, we are in a time of judgment, man. All right, we constantly go into these things that the Lord is not playing, and we're in that season to where you're about to see mass death envelop the earth on a level that you have never seen before, all right, that has never really occurred on the earth. And see, again, this all encompasses judgment because the pride that's here on the earth, just the amount of wickedness is through the roof. And the wickedness that exists in the earth is about to be addressed. And, when you read the book of Revelation 12 and verse 12, we can get it real quick. Right, because there's great wrath, all right, that's coming down on the whole of the earth. This is Revelation 12 and verse 12, and it reads, "Therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe," which means destruction, "to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea." All right, and keep that in mind where it says of the earth and of the sea, because we'll tap into that in a moment. "For the devil is come down unto you having great wrath, because he knoweth that he hath but a short time." Right? So the devil, all right, which is Esau, Edom, all right, the so-called white man, all right, he is coming down with great wrath on the earth. Okay, and we'll tap into a few things today to show you just that Esau, he's pretty much done with these people. He's done with America, Babylon the Great, and he's about to lose his damn mind. All right, so you see this right here. The EPA moves to roll back limits on PFAs in drinking water. Now, if you don't know, PFAs are basically forever chemicals, all right, that if consumed even in low quantities can have some very detrimental health effects to whoever ingests these forever chemicals, which we take in forever chemicals on a daily basis just because we live in a very toxic environment. That's why it's important to detox and just try to do the best you can to eat as clean as possible in this wicked ass kingdom. But what this devil is about to do, or what he has done already, should I say, is he is now removing protections on PFAs in drinking water. So this is to show you, all right, that the wicked is in power. Because as it is written in Proverbs 29, when the wicked beareth rule, the people mourn. But when the righteous beareth authority, the people rejoice. So right now on the earth, we know that the rulers of this earth, they are the wicked. All right, Job 9 and 24, the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. And who would that be? The Edomites, all right? Namely, if you want to pinpoint a specific Edomite, Amalek, all right, the so-called small hat, all right, which are also Edomites, all right? They're just the chief tribe of the Edomites, all right? But they are the ones, all right, that the Lord has set up to bring hell on the earth. In Habakkuk the 2nd chapter, it says, in regards to Esau, that his desire is as hell, all right? And he has made the earth a living hell. So now with these forever chemicals in the water, all right, and we don't know to what level that they're gonna put the chemicals in the water, but knowing the time that we in now, Esau, he about to go all out. Esau, he's about to overload the water with these PFAs. And then on top of that, now they're talking about bottled drinking water is about to become scarce because of the oil shortage. Because to make a lot of these plastic bottles, they use petroleum. All right, plastic is a petroleum-based product, so you're not going to be able to go to the store and buy, bottled water, even though that's tainted as well. But drinking the water straight out the faucet is even worse. So this is why we need salvation. This is why we need Yahweh Bashmel Shai, all right, to come back and deliver us. Because as it is written in Matthew 24th chapter, if it was not for the sake of the elect, no flesh would be saved, man. All right, Esau, this devil would destroy everything. Well, so with that being said, let's go ahead and tap into this.
The Trump administration is moving to roll back limits on some PFAS, the toxic forever chemicals found in the drinking water of millions of Americans. The Biden-era rule set the first national drinking water limits for several PFAS compounds, but industry groups argued the standards were legally flawed and too costly to meet. EPA Administrator Lee Zeldin says the chemicals still need to be addressed, but that the previous administration overreached.
There are two ways to act on PFAS. You can do it the way the last administration did, where a regulation would be rushed out the door. Certain steps were skipped as the law had required. The water systems were giving deadlines that many of them have communicated to us that they're going to have trouble meeting. And we left the rule open to be struck down in court. That approach makes for a good press release and doesn't make for cleaner water.
William Brangham has been reporting on this and joins us now. So, William, before we get into these changes, remind us what these chemicals are and why scientists are so concerned about them.
PFAS are these remarkably resilient, durable chemicals. I mean, they're kind of a wonder of chemistry. They are in dental floss and couches and Gore-Tex and nonstick pans. They have helped revolutionize certain industries. But they are also some of the most insidious pollutants on the planet. We call them forever chemicals, as you mentioned, because they just do not break down out in nature, and they have spread everywhere on Earth. I can't think of a place that they have tested and looked for them where they have not found them, all over the globe.
And this is all because of Esau, all right? The whole earth has been defiled under this devil. So you tell me that we don't need new rulership on this earth, man. Look, these Edomites ain't it. Okay? This is what you have on the earth when Esau is in the power seat. Everything is polluted. Everything is defiled. All right? From the air to the water, the food. You see? So-called medication that they give you. Hell, you can't even eat a damn banana, all right? Even to go as far as a so-called organic banana, right? That has not been tainted in some type of way. Nothing in this world is pure anymore because of this devil, man. So yeah, we got to get the hell out of here because, Esau, he is not profitable to life, and that's clear. But let's continue.
They get into us by us eating food that has PFAS in them, by products in our own lives, and by drinking water that is contaminated with that. I mean, it is estimated that almost all of us, humans on Earth, have PFAS building up in our bodies. That's the concern.
And the Biden administration sought to restrict the amount of these chemicals in drinking water. We heard the EPA administrator say that, yes, this is an issue, but they still are overturning the Biden-era rules. So what's the EPA's argument?
They argued that the Biden administration went too far, too fast, and that according to the Clean Water Act, they didn't follow all the appropriate procedures, and thus these rules could be struck down in court, which the industry was trying to do. The chemical industry and associations of water municipalities have argued that the cost of filtering PFAS out of drinking water, which we can do, they argued that it was much too expensive and that the benefits were just not there for the public.
So you mean to tell me that these devils, all right, they argued against keeping forever chemicals out of the drinking water because they claim that it's too expensive and they don't see the benefit to it? Hey, If this ain't the devil, I don't know what to tell you, man. All right. This is their argument. Oh, it's too expensive and we don't see the benefits in keeping forever chemicals that destroy people. We don't, they claim we don't see the benefit in keeping us out of the water. Oh, man. Yeah, we got to get the hell out of here, man. Esau is insane, okay? But you should expect nothing less from the devil. And see, this shows you right here, all right, that Esau just don't give a shit, man. Even with his own Edomites, all right, he don't give a damn about them either. He's basically given the green light to go ahead and poison, all right, the entire population of Babylon directly through the drinking water. They already doing it through the food. They already, doing it through the air, but they about to take it a step further because, and this shows you how, I'm trying to think of a word I can use to describe this, man. This just shows you how evil that Esau is, because Esau knows that we all need water to survive. All right. Our bodies are made up of like 80% water. So this is a essential part of life itself. Even the water that you shower with, man, these things have PFAs in it, and the skin is the biggest organ on your body. So every time you take a shower, you're taking in PFAs. All right. But the difference is before it was at very small amounts. Now it's about to be very, very high. So you're about to be seeing a lot more people come up sick, drop dead. We know a lot of people's immune systems have been compromised from taking that that came out some years ago. So a lot of people are just not equipped anymore to deal with the onslaught of wickedness that Esau is about to bring. You see? So, we're coming into that scenario of mass death. All right, just caused by really the sword. All right, and we know pursuant to Genesis the 27th chapter, all right, that Isaac, all right, the father of Esau and Jacob, all right, that he gave Esau the blessing of what by the sword shalt thou live. And see, the sword is not just relegated to a bullet and a gun. All right, Esau weaponizing the water, him weaponizing pollutants in the air, him weaponizing the food, all right, him weaponizing sex. That's also a part of his sword. Okay, because we also gotta keep in mind that Esau, he is a cunning hunter. So he's not just gonna come conventional with it all the time. You see, Esau is into what you call asymmetrical warfare. All right, to where he'll basically use you to declare war on yourself, and use the environment to declare war on you as well. All right, as it is written, the thought, what is that? Psalms 64. Let's get that real quick, because the heart of these devils is deep, man. Psalm 64. Yeah, Psalm 64 in verse 5. They encourage themselves in an evil matter. They commune of laying snares. Privily they say, who shall see them? They search out iniquities. They accomplish a diligent search. Both the inward thought of every one of them and the heart is deep. See that? So the wicked imagination of these devils is deep, man. Okay? These are the type of things that they search out and inflict on the population. And the scriptures say that an unwise king destroyeth his people. And again, this shows you that Esau, he has absolutely no care. Now we know that he don't give a shit about Jake, but not even for his own Edomite kind. He's going to do this to them as well. And this is why you're going to see the scriptures speak about seditions among men. All right, that every hand of the wicked shall come upon him because of stuff like this. Because they used to pretend like they cared about the people, but now it's just blatantly in your face that they, that they couldn't care less. All right. So when you get this article right here, all right, check this out. Trump's first EPA promised to crack down on forever chemicals. His second EPA is pulling back. So when he first came in, he said, "Oh, we're gonna crack down on the chemicals in the water. We're gonna put in strict regulations and this and that." Now in his second term, he's taking all that away, and I wonder why. Reads here. One summer day in 2017, a front page story in the Star News of Wilmington, North Carolina, shook up the lives of hundreds of thousands of people. The drinking water system, it said, was polluted with a contaminant commonly known as Gen X, part of the family of forever PFA chemicals. It came from a Chemours plant in Fayetteville near the winding Cape Fear River. Few knew about the contaminated water until the article described the discoveries of scientists from the Environmental Protection Agency, or the EPA, and a state university. Given that certain types of PFAS have been linked to cancer, there was widespread anxiety over its potential danger. It says by the time Trump was sworn in for his second term, many of the plan's suggestions had been put in place. After his first administration said PFOA and PFOs in drinking water should be regulated, standards were finalized under President Joe Biden. 4 other types of PFAs, including Gen X, were also tagged with limits. But now, the second Trump administration is pulling back. The EPA said in May that it will delay enforcement on the drinking water limits for PFOA and PFOs until 2031. And that's very interesting, right? Because we know that Esau, he got a 2030 agenda, right? So-called, which, we know that he's never going to regulate it. But he's saying at least until 2031. And it will rescind and reconsider the limits on the other 4. And see, none of this should be allowed within the water. Why are you allowing chemicals in the water at all? Right? And reconsider the limits on the other 4. Among those who challenge the standards in court is Chemours, which has argued that the EPA under Biden used flawed science, right? Which Esau is good for that, right? Flawed science so falsely called pseudoscience, and didn't follow proper rulemaking procedures for Gen X. All right, so you get the point that these devils, all right, they're about to bring mass death on the earth through weaponizing the environment. And then when you go here, speaking of weaponizing the environment, all right, let me reload this. Stay indoors, health warnings, all right, because now in different cities across America, all right, you have very toxic air, all right, that is dangerous to breathe in. And you know what I'm saying, the same chemicals they putting in the water is the same chemicals that they're spraying over these cities, man, because they want people to drop dead. All right, we know that they have a massive Depop agenda for the entire earth. And again, as we read Revelation 12, the devil shall come unto you having great wrath, for ye know that he has but a short time. This is that great wrath. Let's play this.
This is Dabu 7. We have a health warning now issued for millions of people across 11 states, and these warnings are getting worse and worse. It may be because of the drought and because they're feeding things into this, but I've never seen it this widespread. Usually we have little pockets, like you see on the left. Tucson, Phoenix, you've got an alert here as well. You can see the pocket to the west of you. Also, California is in this alert, as well as New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, Massachusetts, Rhode Island, Maine, New Hampshire, Pennsylvania, Delaware, Maryland, and like I said, California, till 11 p.m. this evening. A lot of this has to do with the particulates in the atmosphere, but the East Coast event, they're saying they're tying into ozone pollution. So we got all these things going on, fires that feed into this. it makes things pretty bad. Now, when you get above 100, they're saying everyone should limit their outdoor activity in terms of their chart here, and that people should remain indoors when possible, avoid strenuous outdoor exercise, use air purifiers, and or N95 masks if you got to go outside. Now, if this crosses up over 150 to 200, this is when you get into the really serious type of zone. And when you get to 300 and above, they say no one should be outdoors whatsoever. As we've reported on before, you've got these patches of toxic air moving in. They're saying stay indoors, especially the people that are sensitive to this. But this one is rather large, affecting a massive swath of the country. We'll look here at one map.
Look at that, man. Look at that. From the east to the west coast, all of this toxic air, all right, that people are just breathing in and, you know, getting sick. Now, if you recall a few years ago, what happened out there in East Palestine, Ohio, when you had a whole lot of those train derailments happening, right? And these trains were carrying chemicals. You see what I'm saying? Very, you know, very dangerous chemicals on those trains that ran off the tracks, spilled into the river, got into the soil. And what did they do with the chemicals? You know, they didn't go and try to clean it up. They burned it. All right, so they burned these chemicals, which of course went into the atmosphere. All right, goes up into the clouds and comes back down in the rain. So all the forever chemicals that were in, you know, that were on those trains went back into the environment. And I'm pretty sure if you were, you know, to look up what's going on out there in East Palestine, Ohio, and other places now, all right, the quality of life and the health of the people out there is drastically worse than what it was before these things occurred. You know, and that was really like a foreshadowing of what they were going to do all across Babylon. So Esau's going crazy. Look at this, man. This is from the east to the west, all over. There are very few, you know, pockets of land to where you can say, okay, like there's no toxins at all. This is pretty much all of Babylon the Great right here.
You can see the numbers just off the charts there, up here in this region. And then if you go over here to look at the map specifically, you can see this whole area working up the East Coast is hit here compared to other parts of the country. So just a heads up there on this. I will continue to update if we see more.
Yeah, this is crazy, man. All right, but you know, this is Esau. All right, the sword of Yahweh Bashmi Shai, Psalms 17. Psalm 17 in verse 13. Arise, O Lord, disappoint him. Cast him down, deliver my soul from the wicked, which is thy sword. See? So Esau, he is the instrument of judgment used by Yahweh Bashmi Shai, all right, to judge the wicked, man. All right, so, you know, Esau has the power to do these things because it was given to him from Yahweh Bashmi Shai. All right, Esau, he is the sword, man. And furthermore, he's the sword of the Most High. So really, it's not Esau that you should fear, all right? It's Yahweh Bashmi Shai that you should fear, man, because the Lord, he controls Esau. He give him the power to bring death on the earth because why, all right? We read in the scripture, it tell you that Esau, he is the vessel of wrath fitted for destruction. Okay, so Esau, he's a vessel of wrath, man. And this is why he's the perfect devil, you see, to bring these things forth. Mass death. Check this out. More judgment, all right? Scientists detect huge structure under ocean fueling the deadly upcoming El Nino. Now they talking about this El Nino because they said there was one that happened back in I believe it was the 1870s. All right, and they said that a lot. Matter of fact, let's look that up real quick. How many people died during the 1870s? Get it right. 1870s super El Nino. Let's see real quick. During the 1877 to 78 super El Nino, it is estimated that at least 50 million people died due to the resulting global famine and droughts, with some estimates suggesting the death toll could be as high as 60 million. So you see that? So this they're saying there's another super El Nino coming, but the first one that occurred back in 1877, 78, all right, the death toll, they say, is between 50 million and 60 million, brought on by famine, global famine, and droughts. Okay, the catastrophic impact of this event was primarily due to severe droughts affecting large regions including India, China, Brazil, and Africa. All right, and we know that there's a global supply chain shortage. There's an energy crisis. All right, which is gonna already induce famine. Okay. The air is being polluted, the water is being destroyed, and also with this matter of fact, let's get back into this article, right? Because this warm water is also going to destroy a lot of the sea life. Okay, so fishing industries are going to collapse. Okay, the bottom feeders that keep the waters clean, all right, they're going to be taken away as well. All right, so this is a domino effect of death and judgment. Scientists say they pinpointed the super warm undersea structure responsible for this year's El Nino weather pattern, which they fear will be one of the worst warming events in recorded history. Then on top of that, they saying this summer is going to be one of the hottest on record, having 100-degree temps on a regular basis, man. All right, which that's going to tax the energy grid. Okay, we already know there's an energy crisis, so there's going to be rolling blackouts. Look, man, the time we coming into is going to be like no other. All right, called a Kelvin wave. Scientists have identified a massive pool of warm water in the Pacific carrying temperatures up to 13.5 degrees Fahrenheit above average in similar parts of the ocean. As the Wall Street Journal notes, that's a major heat wave as far as the ocean is concerned, as deep water temperature patterns take much longer to shift than they would on land. Let me see. I want to get a particular point out of here. The first super El Nino on record happened in 1877, a cataclysmic event which resulted in widespread droughts and famines that killed an estimated 50 million people across the world. The latest super El Nino, which lasted from 2015 to 16, resulted in climate anomalies which directly contributed to outbreaks of diseases like the Zika virus, which, a lot of these diseases now, they bring it back. They talking about this one right here, okay? The bird flu. Now they talking about the monkeypox and all the other stuff they got coming. Zika virus, cholera, H virus. Now they got the Ebola. They talking about that's the next pandemic. Chicken, I don't even know how to say that. And even the plague. How heavy-handed El Nino is this time around remains to be seen, but with global ocean temperatures significantly higher than they were a decade ago, it's not going to be pretty. So they're already telling you that, this coming El Nino, the super El Nino, this is going to destroy a lot of people, man. All right, and just know that this hurricane season is going to be off the chain. All right, you're going to be seeing some strong ass storms that you've never seen before. All right, so you should well know what time we in. All right, because hey, Yahweh Bashmil Shai is not playing, man. Let's get 2nd Esdras, the 5th chapter. 2nd Esdras chapter 5 and 1. Nevertheless, as coming the tokens, the prophecies, the signs, behold, the days shall come that they which dwell upon earth shall be taken in a great number. And we're in that time right now. Through war, through disease, through famine, through climatic weather events, so-called natural disasters, earthquakes, volcanoes erupting, hurricanes, tornadoes, hailstorms, earthquakes, okay? This is how people are going to be taken off this earth in a great number, man. And the way of truth shall be hidden, and the land shall be barren of faith. Let's go to 2nd Ezra 16. 2nd Ezra 16 in verse 18. Matter of fact, let's start at 17. Woe is me, who will deliver me in those days? What days is Ezra's talking about? The last days, the vision of what he saw concerning the last days, which is the time that we in now. Ezra said, woe is me, destruction unto me. Who is going to save me in those days? That's how bad that it was. Like, the stuff that was going on that Ezra saw, it terrified him. All right? The beginning of sorrows and great mournings, the beginning of famine and great death. Okay, great death is about to envelop the earth. The beginning of wars, and the powers shall stand in fear. The beginning of evils, what shall I do when these evils shall come? Behold, famine and plague, tribulation and anguish are sent as scourges for amendment, or otherwise judgment. All right? But for all these things they shall not turn from their wickedness, nor be always mindful of the scourges. So people are not repenting, and they're not paying attention to what's going on. All right? Which went into it yesterday about the days of Noah, right? Just like it was in the days of Noah, people was eating, drinking, being merry. All right? They wasn't paying attention to the scourges. They wasn't taking heed to the prophet Noah. They was living their life until the very day Noah entered into the ark and the flood came and destroyed them all. You see what I'm saying? We're in the same time now, to where people have no care in the world. You know what I'm saying? These people just out here in the world, just living in folly, not even paying attention to all the hell that's going on, all the judgment that's taking place. And that's why these people are going to be taken in a great number. All right? Luke 21. Salakia. Luke 21. And we'll go to 25. Luke 21 and 25, the return of Hamashiach. Okay, which is Yahweh Shai is on his way, man. Okay, very, very close. Luke 21 and 25, and there shall be signs in the sun and in the moon and in the stars, and upon the earth distress of nations with perplexity, the sea and the waves roaring, men's hearts failing them for fear and for looking after those things which are coming on the earth. For the powers of heaven shall be shaken. All right, so right now people are afraid, man. Like, they don't know what's about to come next. People think that come July 4th, oh, this is America's 250th, birthday, so to speak. So people are happy. They're like, oh yeah, I can't wait to hit 250. But see, you don't understand. See, once America hits that 250 mark, America's already done, man. Like, this place is already falling. But once America gets to that 250, it's really gonna turn up from there, man. Okay, it's really gonna turn up to the point of no return. This place is over with. All right, this world period is over with. All right, and like I mentioned before, all right, with this super El Nino, you know what I'm saying, this is also judgment, man. A lot of industries that deal with being on the ocean, being on the sea, being on the waters are going to collapse because of the judgment that the Lord is going to bring, all right, to the sea life. Hosea 4, I believe it's in this chapter. 1 second. Yep, Hosea 4 and 3. Therefore shall the land mourn, and every one that dwelleth therein shall languish with the beasts of the field and with the fowls of heaven. Yeah, the fishes of the sea also shall be taken away. So the Lord is about to bring judgment to everything, man. All right, because why? This is the end of this world, man. And, you know, we're about to transition into the kingdom. But before we get there, we got to go through what? Great tribulation, which is what we're in the midst of right now. See, right, you know, we're in the beginning of what Yahushua spoke of, the beginning of sorrows. You see, and the beginning of sorrows coincides with great death. All right, 2nd Ezra 16 and verse 22. For many of them that dwell upon earth shall perish of famine, and the other that escape the hunger shall the sword destroy. And the dead shall be cast out as dung, and there shall be no man to comfort them, for the earth shall be wasted, and the cities shall be cast down. This is the time we coming into. There shall be no man left to till the earth and to sow it. The trees shall give fruit, and who shall gather them? The grapes shall ripen, and who shall tread them? For all places shall be desolate of men. So the scriptures speak about massive depopulation of people on the earth. All right, so that one man shall desire to see another, and to hear his voice. For of a city there shall be 10 left, and 2 of the field which shall hide themselves in the thick groves and in the clefts of the rocks. As in an orchard of olives, upon every tree there are left 3 or 4 olives. Or as when a vineyard is gathered, there are left some clusters of them that diligently seek through the vineyard. Even so, in those days there shall be 3 or 4 left by them that search their houses with the sword. And the earth shall be laid waste, and the fields thereof shall wax old, because of all the famine and the war and, you know, the judgment that the Lord going to bring through these so-called natural disasters, man. It's, you know, yo, by the time Yahushua comes back, right, the earth is already going to be torn up, man. You know, the earth is already going to be torn up by the time Yahushua come back, because the Lord is really going to bring it on this place. The fields thereof shall wax old, and her ways and all her paths shall grow full of thorns, because no man shall travel there through. Right? So all these things, right? This super El Nino, all right, the water being poisoned, the air being poisoned, all right, these diseases that they bringing about, the famine, you know, all these things are gonna come together, all right, to what these elites call polycrisis. You see, to where they're gonna complete their agenda, or attempt to complete their agenda, because we know the Lord's going to disappoint them. But nonetheless, the sword is going to be used, and Esau, he is the sword. All right. So, hey, all these things that you see happening, this is all a means to an end. All right, and the end is to bring judgment and death and hell on this earth. All right, to punish the wicked. All right, we just gotta pray and hope, all right, that we are counted worthy to escape these things that are coming on the earth. All right, that's our sincere prayer and our sincere belief that the Lord have mercy upon us, because we understand the majority of people you see walking around out here, they're about to be offed real soon. You see, majority of these people, man. So hey, if you see Akim Wakwaf, hey, keep on doing what you're doing. You know, keep on seeking Yahweh Bashman Shai, being obedient, and walking in the spirit to the best of your ability, man. Because look, we're in a much better position than these people out here, man. All right, we ain't made it yet, but as long as we continue on a straight and narrow path, and you know, we're prepared, you know, through the blood of our Lord Yahweh Shai to go through the straight gate, then we're gonna be all right. But just know that you're gonna see a lot of things that is gonna shake a lot of people up, man. So you got to be grounded in this thing and know what you're involved in. All right. So with that, I'm gonna go ahead and close out. Lord willing, this lesson has been edifying through the Rakah Kadash. Call Allah Yahweh by Hashem Yahushai by Hashem Rakah Kadash. And until next time, Lord willing, shalom to the elect. Kum Yasha'Allah. Wa Bible Ball. On to the next one. Shalom.